And welcome back to the Anime Egotist, where we make Team Rocket look like the good guys.
Well, they are.
Fine. Well, welcome back to the Anime Egotist, where we make Ash look. No, we're better. Look, we're low quality, but we're still a little bit better than Ash. Not a lot,
Of
just a little
course.
bit, just a little bit. But anyways, you got me, Foster, and I'm joined by my co-host who somehow survived 2020.
Somehow, I'm Williamson.
That's right. And we just wanted to say, hope you guys had a happy holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, Graffelnik, and just a happy new
Freeze a day.
year. Hmm?
Freeze a day.
Of course, Freeze a Day. And just hope you guys have a happy new year. We know 2020 was very rough for a lot of you guys, us in particular, but we hope that you guys have a good 2021, or at least somewhat decent by comparison.
Yep.
But you're not here to have us reminisce on the past. We want to talk about the present or the future of Pokemon Journeys Part 3 on Netflix. But before we begin, I've been slacking a little bit. For those of you who notice the wonderful logo we have, we did not do that. We are not talented enough to do that. But we had a very, very good friend of ours named Aaliyah. I know, seems counterproductive, but all right. But she did a fantastic job with the logo. I'll put a link to her somewhere in the video. Once again, we just want to say thank you very much.
Yes, thank you.
But there are a couple other people we have to thank. Juan Schimmelson. Oh my god, I mispronounced that. Han Jun and Leo Iwazaki, who helped with the new intro we have for the channel. Very nice people, very productive and helpful. Once again, please go give them a visit. They were all incredibly kind. Thank you.
Yes, thank you very much.
Including Leo Iwazaki, who has an anime cover channel where he sings anime openings and also subscribes to the channel. So I have to give him props for that. Not sure why he decided to subscribe, but we appreciate it nonetheless.
Yep.
But now that we have all the pleasantries out of the way, let's talk about Pokemon Journeys Part 3. So before we get overall, what were your thoughts on Part 3? We both enjoyed Part 1. Part 2 we had a couple of problems with. What are your initial thoughts on Part 3?
I thought that it got a lot of the stories that I had already seen were coming up started again, so I was happy to see that. There were a couple WTF moments in it. We'll get onto that, I know, but
Oh yeah, I remember just a lot of weird stuff, but I will give them credit to where I feel like a lot of the times the filler in Pokemon can be boring. This wasn't boring. We can say that. It definitely got us watching, that's for sure.
in my case, it made me stop watching for a day or two. But
Well, regardless, it got us talking. But anyway, the first episode, we have Ash and Go traveling, and Ash has to face a very familiar opponent. Do you remember who that was?
well, it's a fighting gym leader, so yes.
That's right. For those of you who haven't picked up on it yet, Ash finally has his awaited rematch with Karina, the Kalos gym leader, with her Mega Lucario, and it's really nice to see Karina again. She's not really the character, like, out of all the characters that people would have said they would like to see return who weren't traveling companions. Karina's not really one I would have expected anyone to say, but her little backstory and story itself in X and Y was so well done that I'm okay with seeing her again.
Yeah, I agree because she was almost a main character for I think it was the end of the original X and Y anime.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, she's one of the more likable gym leaders just based on her design and personality, and just I don't know. It's nice. It's nice seeing gym leaders again because we generally don't see that much of them.
True, true. Yeah, you see a lot of them once, and then they may show up in a one later episode for something, but usually they're done.
Yeah, and I'm gonna say the battle between her and Ash. I don't know if I'd say it was better than the first battle they had in X and Y, but it was still a really good showcase. I do find it kind of odd that they keep having Mega Lucario lose, but I guess the story wouldn't be as interesting if Ash ended up losing to a gym leader he's already beaten.
True. Another thing with it, though, I think the main reason they brought her back was because Ash has Riolu. So again, it allows Riolu to get, because Riolu has kind of a moment during the battle where he's trying to cheer for both sides, I think.
Yeah, that is true. Who also, I like the fact that they had a moment where Go and Karina's grandfather kind of had their own moment when Go was, of course, catching every single Pokemon with ease, like he always tends to do. But it was still a nice way to bring all the characters together.
Yeah, I actually forgot about Karina's grandfather being a part of the story in the, or at least in the anime. I remembered that he's part in the game, but I didn't remember him being in the anime.
Yeah. Then, then again, I'm not completely sure. I guess my thing is, I'm wondering if Karina keeps coming back, which I don't expect her to, maybe like one or two more appearances before the series ends in about 60 to 70 years. But I do wonder how often they're going to rely on him being there. But I don't have too much of an issue with it regardless.
Yeah, just a nice connection to make to kind of be a surprise for
Yeah.
Go at least.
Yeah. And of course, as we all know, Ash wins LOL and he gets up to the great class, which he's definitely going to stay for a very long period of time.
Oh yeah, he'll be in Ultra Class by the end of this part, isn't he?
Sure, sure. But we can always jump into that later. Sure. But, and the, yes,
Episode 2.
episode two, which of and before we get into episode two, we always have to emphasize the greatness that is the Pokemon Journeys theme song, rated #1 on Apple Music. Don't check. It is. It is. I wouldn't lie to you. I wouldn't lie.
It might be because he has multiple accounts and he bought it multiple times.
No, I bought the rights to it, but that's a completely different story. I'm not going to change anything. I just wanted the rights to it. Anyways, we've stalled long enough. What the hell was this next episode? What was this?
One of the most amazing anime filler episodes ever.
I don't know if amazing's the way to put it, but let's. So Go catches a Magikarp, which is noticeably bigger than other Magikarps.
Yeah, that was I think towards the end of part 2, if I remember correctly.
I do maybe, but I can't keep track of when Go catches stuff. But yes, but it's a big ass Magikarp. So
So he decides he's going to enter it in a Magikarp jump contest. I guess it's to relate to the mobile game Magikarp jump
yeah,
kind of thing.
I've never played it, but sure, yeah. And there's basically this weird king guy who's like the champion of Magikarp jumping. It's weird because you can tell the whole time the king's just sort of hamming it up. He's not one of those like honorable figures you'd expect in Pokemon. He kind of just there to like just he's weird. He's an oddball.
We find out that Magikarp have abs.
Uh,
Yeah.
who wrote this episode?
Give them a pay raise and then fire them.
Yeah, I was about to say the exact same thing, oddly enough. But anyway, so Go is training his Magikarp to jump higher and higher and higher. And they eventually get to the competition where Go and the King are facing off. Both of their Magikarp jump. The King's lands, but doesn't get as high as Go's Magikarp. Go's Magikarp flies into the air all the way pretty much almost into space and doesn't come down at first.
Yeah, it's weird, but in the end, so because the rules state that the Magikarp have to land, Go is disqualified. It's an interesting first half to the episode.
Yeah, yeah. The sad thing is, this was the normal part of the episode. What about the next part with the adventures of the Slowpoke Slowking fiasco?
We learned a lot about Pokemon in this episode, specifically about Slowking.
Yeah, and we also learned what happens when the hat or crown is removed. because we all know Slowking are traditionally very smart Pokemon, but once the crown gets knocked off and lands on somebody's head, it turns them British.
And yeah, we'll call them British.
Yeah, because it lands on Ash's head and he's smart for like the first time in his life, his like 12-year-old life at this point. It gets knocked off. It lands on Go. It lands on Pikachu. It's just a fiasco of seeing just some of our characters just turning. It's weird. It's one of those things that we can't really describe. You just have to watch it for yourself because I'm not going. I'm not rewatching that. That was it's too weird for me.
This was the episode that made me turn it off for a few days because it's like I can't tell if it'll ever get better or has it peaked here or has it valleyed here? What happened in this episode?
It's funny because I texted you while I was watching this episode. I'm like, you need to prepare yourself for this episode, and I don't think you even regard it. You're just like, whatever. And then you watch and you're like, yeah, I'm done for a few days. I'm like, I don't blame you. I do not blame you, my friend.
Yeah, you texted me, and I think I was making dinner after having watched the first episode, and then was going to watch the second episode.
So I am so happy. I'm so happy I was able to catch you and just be like, no, 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 no. Prepare yourself. But nothing I told you seemed to matter because you're just like, it wasn't. Nothing I told you was enough. Oh, and also Magikarp lands back, so they kind of solved that bit.
Yeah, but if I remember correctly, though, on the Magikarp one, doesn't it show it going into space?
Yes, yes, it does.
Yeah, but it also starts out with Team Rocket, and which is a great thing to start with. So.
Yeah, I thought the episode was going to be about them because the Pelipper shows up and it's like, oh, okay, we got a message, cool. And then it's just like, no, let's just go back to Ash and Go. And then at the end of the episode, the same thing happens. The Pelipper shows back up. James opens the door. He smiles and he's just like, nope. He knew what this episode was going to lead to, so he's just like, let's just move on to the next one. Yeah. So episode 2, weird, worth a watch, but weird.
It's one of those filler episodes that it's like the best of Pokemon, but it's also the worst of Pokemon. So.
Ain't that the truth? Anyways, next episode.
This is the second appearance of Leon.
Leon, right? When you said Leon, I completely forgot who you were talking about. And he faces Raihan in that battle, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay, this was a fun battle, and I like the dynamic between Leon and Raihan. Leon being kind of the respectful role model championship figure, and Raihan, while being a nice guy deep down, but kind of showing an aura of cockiness and a little not stuck up, but just a little arrogant. But I liked it.
Well, to be ranked in the top 8, you kind of deserve to be a little arrogant, I would imagine.
Yeah. Oh, I would be. To be fair, I'd be horrible if I was in like the top 8. I would be horrible to people. It's like, hey, let's battle. What's your rank? Like 500. Try again. Go home.
Yeah. So I think this one's mostly just
The battle itself.
Yeah. I'm trying to remember. Yeah, I think there's not really much to this episode. Again, they are given tickets by the professor, go to Galar to watch the competition, and then
yeah, but it's a really good battle though. It's nice because especially in the end because spoiler alert, Raihan loses, but in the end it's a nice moment of one the bet. He didn't really lose anything because he's like in the top 8 or something and he lost to the number 1. So he doesn't look that bad of a loss. It's like of course you lost to the number 1 trainer. That makes sense. And just we get to see more of how Dynamaxing works in the Pokemon anime, and it's really good stuff. I did notice, however, there were force fields kind of around the area, so I guess that none of the attacks damaged any of the fans. Kind of makes me wonder, did they plan ahead for that, or did something happen that caused them to be like, let's add force fields next time?
yeah, it's interesting, I think is the word.
Yeah. And at the
Yeah,
end of the battle, Ash is just like, "Hey, Leon, I'm gonna beat you." And I'm like, "Ash, sit down. You're not even in the top 100."
yeah, and then I'm trying to remember, does the episode end with them at the hotel?
It gets to them. They get to the hotel, but they meet somebody very, very interesting. And for those of you who know what's it called, who know Pokemon Sword and Shield, you'll remember this character. Don't you remember? They eat our good friend Sonia.
Oh, that's right. Okay, so yeah, this is to set up the next part of the story, I believe.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm not real. I guess I'm kind of okay with Sonia just showing up randomly. At the same time, though, when I first saw it, I'm just like, wait, is that all? Like, is she like not gonna like stick around and nothing?
Yeah, now that you mentioned that she's there, it was good to see her, and I think again they're setting it up just to have it ready for the next part of the story, whatever that is going to be.
Yeah. Not only that, but we do get a little bit of a shot of Chairman Rose. So I wonder if he's going. I'd like to think that he's going to play a bigger part in the series, in the anime, like he did in Sword and Shield, the games.
It would be nice.
Hopefully, that means we can get more. We can get some Bede, Hop, and Marnie, but I'm not holding my breath for them. I'm gonna be honest.
We usually get one, so um, I don't think it'll be Marnie just because we have Chloe as. So I imagine it'll probably be. Uh, it'll
I think
probably. Um,
I
yeah,
feel
go.
like it kind of has to be Hop because if you don't, because they're Hop and Leon are siblings, and if you just don't acknowledge it, then everyone's going to wonder like, is Hop in the story? Does he not get talked about? Then again, Professor in the Hoenn anime in Advance through Battle Frontier, it's remember from the games, Brendan is depending on who you pick, Brendan could be the child of Professor Birch, and they never acknowledge him. But that's we can talk about that another day. We can get frustrated about that another time.
Yeah, so
But
I,
fun battle, nice seeing Sonya. I give it a pass.
yeah, I think they're gonna introduce Go kind of how they did, or not Go, Hop as they introduced Hal in the from the Sword and Shield, or not Sun and Moon. So he's gonna come in probably whatever the second season is.
I hope they do him better than they did Go, but they already did him better in the video game. But anyways, next episode.
Is Sobbing Sobble.
Okay. I like Sobble. I got Sobble when I played Shield. I understand that's supposed to be like timid and cries a lot, but it cried a lot.
Yeah, it's yeah. I don't like Sobble's personality, and
Yeah, it's not even the fact that if it was the only one that cried, I'd be like, you know what, that's fine. It's younger, it's timid. It'll make it that much more cooler when it evolves and becomes a badass. But at the same time, forcing everybody else to cry is a little on the annoying side, in my
yeah,
opinion.
I would much rather it have been focused on its invisibility and maybe make it a prankster style. So,
Yes, I would like that. I would have really liked that.
so this is more about the whole Pokemon, not just this, because even in the games, it's supposed to be a crybaby.
True.
So, so just imagine, okay, the personality is different. It goes invisible when it's wet, and then it uses that to pull small pranks, kind of like how it ate Ash and Go's food,
Yeah.
but more malicious slightly.
Yeah, you know, Sobble kind of reminds me of Marnie in a sense because it said early on in the games that she was timid and kind of a crybaby, kind of like Sobble. But as it grows up, it becomes badass and at times kind of intimidating.
Yeah,
It'd be nice if she showed up and she got one, but I don't think that's what they're going with. But anyways, Sobble shows up. It gets nervous, it cries, everybody cries around it. Team Rocket catches it. I don't really remember a whole lot happening with this episode besides Go just wanting to catch it.
Well, he catches it like at the first third of the episode, and then the second half is chasing after it because Go tried to force it to battle, I think.
Yeah, which is weird because Go doesn't really seem to like battling as much as Ash does. We talked about that in part one about how it seemed like when he lost that battle in that tournament, he didn't really seem like he was the type of person who wanted to battle, even though he kind of changed his mind at the very last minute, which was problematic in a lot of ways. But regardless, it still felt kind of weird that he's just like, come on, battle, battle. If anything, it felt like he should have been the one who kind of realized immediately, you know what, you don't have to battle if you don't want to. But I don't know.
I think that in this case they should have, because I had heard that Ash originally was catching it, so
I heard that too.
so I was happy that I was misinformed, just because it's a spoiler that I was told incorrectly. So
Yeah, I don't know how, but I avoided a lot of spoilers this time around. I'm proud of myself for that.
I knew a good bit about this season or this part, but I think that they should have had Ash catch it. Thinking back on it now, and then have Go still being the one. Hey, it doesn't want to battle. I mean, it's just Pokemon, and maybe once it evolves, it would. But at least right now, Ash doesn't have a good way of.
Yeah, yeah. Or they could do what they did in Diamond and Pearl. They could he could catch it. It wouldn't necessarily want to battle, and Go could catch a Pokemon that loves battling, but he's not that into it. He's like, okay, how about this? Let's just trade. Let's just trade. That way, you get one more Pokemon registered for your decks, and you get Ash gets a Pokemon that likes to battle.
It would have been a good way to introduce Grookey as well.
Yeah, but like we said, not necessarily a bad episode. Just kind of it kind of fell on its face.
Wait a minute. I think we may have missed something. Give me 1 second to check in.
Did we? Okay. Slowpoke and Slowking. Okay. Then it was the battle. Then it was the Sobble episode, and the next episode is
the part we forgot was in episode 3. I'm pretty sure the episode where Ash catches Farfetch'd.
Oh, wow. That's probably okay. We should go back to that. Ash catches a Galarian Farfetch'd with a 7-foot leak. That thing is ridiculous.
Yeah. So, yeah, I forgot that takes place around this time. I know it's one of those 2 episodes.
Oh no, I just remembered. In that same episode, when Ash is trying to convince his Pokemon, hey, you can stand up, you can keep Riolu, you can keep fighting. And it's like, okay, cool, you're standing up for your Pokemon. That Farfetch gets knocked out. Come on, Farfetch, you can stand up, and goes like, Ash, what are you doing? Stop. Up, and I'm like, okay. I'm like, Go resonates with me sometimes because he just realizes Ash is not that bright.
Yeah, it's
Anyways, we can move on to the next episode.
Yep. So the next one is there's a new kid in town. This is the one with the Pidove.
This episode was kind of a mess for me. I'm going to be honest. It was kind of all over the place.
I agree. I'm trying to decide if now is a good time to go over what I would have liked to have seen in this whole season. Or this whole part.
Go for it. Shoot.
So, this part had kind of an overarching. Started about this point and then went through the end of the time where Ash is going through some things with his team, and then later on with a battle that we'll cover later. I really think that they could have changed the order a bit to make it
like
almost like a whole arc. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
I'll explain once we go over everything.
Yeah, but because I can agree with that, because the order of some of these episodes is kind of all over the place, which was kind of our biggest complaint with Sun and Moon. A lot of the arcs were stretched out into multiple episodes when really you could have just put all 3 or 4 episodes together in a row and just have been done with it. It would have been a lot more fluid and enjoyable. But this P-Dove episode kind of bothered me because it's a Chloe episode, which I'm all for. I like Chloe to an extent, but I don't know. I don't know. So basically, a P-Dub gets hurt at Chloe and Cerise's house, and they do their best to take care of it. And unfortunately, Chloe's Yamper ends up getting jealous about it, especially considering P-Dub is always kind of around Yamper.
Yeah, I'd like to stand on its back.
Yeah. And look, I don't really know what character they're trying to go with for Chloe, but I don't know if it's completely working for me because we know her character. She doesn't really know if she wants to do anything Pokemon related, which is fine. But at the same time, throughout the episode, well, her parents keep talking about, well, back then, and when you were younger, you weren't always close with Yamper. And it keeps showing flashbacks of her being annoyed by Yamper, which I know she's a kid, but that's always one of my least favorite points of, oh, you had a pet and you weren't always nice to it, which like it upsets me. I know it's just an episode, but I really just don't like that cliched point of, oh, you used to be mean to this thing, or you used to hate this thing, or something like that.
Can't remember an example, but I feel like this is something they've done before with. I guess more along the lines of they've done where, as a young kid, they were afraid of Pokemon.
Yeah, but that makes a little more sense. Like if you're scared of it, then that makes sense. But she wasn't scared of it. She just seemingly wanted nothing to do with it. And even because it shows that Yamper gets lost at some point and she ends up looking for it. She gets attacked by, I don't remember what Pokemon she gets attacked by. But in the end, Yamper saves her. And from what I recall, she was still not very nice to it afterwards, which really just like, seriously, it saved your life. And you're just like, no, I don't like you. That's cool. Like, just sure.
Yeah, it's not done the best. That is for sure.
Oh, it was Venonat. And I'm like, really? Venonat? I mean, they're a little weird looking, but they're seemingly harmless to me.
Yeah, I mean they have the spores, which they've shown in the anime to affect humans in previous episodes, so I can kind of understand it. But
Yeah, but at the same time, though, they find P-Dove's owner, or they say if it, and like I said, I like Chloe, but I don't feel like this was the best episode for her. Fortunately, there's another episode that involves her, or that I feel like is a lot better. That does her character a lot better justice. Anything you have to
yes,
say about this episode?
no, I agree with most of your points there that they could have definitely handled it better. Where maybe have they could have changed it so that Yampert's chewing on her toy or something and given her reasons to be upset at it
Yeah, something along
instead
those
of just
lines.
being annoyed at it. And again, this is probably a real thing, and for with neither of us being parents, we don't really know and can't remember us being jealous of our pets as kids. So
Yeah, because I know for me in particular, whenever I was a kid and I got a new pet, I was all for it. I always like showered it with love and stuff. But different experiences. I just wish it was done better. Anyways, next episode. Oh crud!
next episode is betrayed, bothered, and belligered.
Is okay. It wins just alone for that word belligered. That is fantastic. But it's the it's the episode a lot of you have been waiting for. The Pikachu jealous of Riolu episode.
Yeah, so pretty much the whole part of this is that Ash and Riolu are constantly uh, battling for in the World Coronation Series, and even when Pikachu would have a type advantage and Pikachu wants to battle, Ash is still sending in Riolu.
Yeah, which to me is kind of like, I'm not really sure why Pikachu was waiting now of all of a sudden to get upset about it, because he's done this before. There have been several gym battles where he's been like, all right, no, I'm not going to use Pikachu this time, or no, Pikachu, you sit this one out, and Pikachu's just like, oh, okay, yeah, sure, all right. So it took Pikachu about 20 something years to start getting jealous about it. Then again, I'm not. This it may sound like I'm defending Ash, but I'm not. Oh my god, Ash is kind of bad in this
Blind.
episode.
He's also blind to it. in this
Yeah,
episode.
we've made jokes before about Ash being oblivious when it comes to people's feelings, people liking him, and all this other stuff. But this kind of takes it to a whole new level. Like, goodness gracious, what is happening?
I mean, Pikachu is supposed to be his partner, like that will always be there. So the fact that he can't pick up on the fact that Pikachu's getting upset about it is really actually what character Ash has, it hurts it.
Yeah, and I understand that Ash has had several episodes where he's not necessarily the best person. Going like if we ever review the Johto series, which I'm for, or we would just have to talk about it. The episode with him and his Bayleaf always trying to get his attention, that was that was one of the worst episodes. Goodness God for him. But regardless, Ash's mom shows up. She comes to visit and Pikachu starts spending more time with her, and she's like, okay, and she's basically like, okay, hey, you can stay in the bed with me while I sleep. That's fine. And she kind of picks up on it. She kind of is like, hey, is Ash not spending that much time with you, or is Ash kind of neglecting you? Which you think she would have said something about. Like she's always harassing him about wearing clean underwear, but she can't talk to him about this for 4 minutes.
Yeah, it's again, this is part of the whole rework for this part I would have done, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, and of course the episode also features Mr. Mime a lot, which I don't know. I guess I'm still not over Detective Pikachu's Mr. Mime because that thing kind of creeps me out.
I was kind of creeped out at, I think it was in part one where they kept zooming in on his face throughout one episode, and it's like it's got evil smiles and stuff. It's like,
And
okay.
he also makes them tea, which I don't remember what episode it was, but I remember Chloe looking at it and she's kind of like, "What the hell am I supposed to do with this? Do I drink this or whatever?" Anyway, so Pikachu ends up running away, following Ash's mom, despite not completely knowing. He doesn't do a very good job of it, and Mr. Mime ends up following along because I guess Mr. Mime's thought process is basically, hey, if he gets lost or hurt or something and I know what's going on, that makes me a bad friend, so I'll tag along. And they run into this woman who's like a trucker with a country accent. Geez, there are a lot of people with country accents in Pokemon, I'm noticing. It's weird.
I'm fine with it only because Pallet Town is pretty much the country. Like it's the smallest town I think in a Pokemon game ever.
Yeah, well, it has 3 buildings, so that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah, because I'm trying to think of one that's small
Maybe one of the other starting towns. I don't know.
with 4 houses. No, not Newburgh.
Litterroot Town has like three houses.
Yeah,
I don't even know if Litterroot Town is mentioned in the anime, but regardless, whatever. So they finally make it to Ash's mom's house after after Pikachu fights a group of Spearow, which he seems to fight those things on a near monthly basis. It's
but they
weird.
know him and are willing to beat him up for what they've done to them.
He's just like, oh, dude, it's this asshole again. All right, let's fly off. Wait. Why are we doing this? He has electricity. He's just like that doesn't matter. Yes, it does. The past 47 times, whatever. They get to the house and Ash, surprisingly, Ash is there. It seems kind of weird that nobody actually went out to try and search for Pikachu, but they all just wait. Oh no, he'll get here eventually. But anyways, they get to the house and Ash is like, hey. So it turns out I've been neglecting you for Riolu, and Chloe really let me have it, which I did like. I did like how Chloe kind of learned her lesson from the previous episode about ignoring and taking Pokemon for granted. My only problem is show, don't tell. Well, I don't need the whole journey of Pikachu making it to Pallet Town. You can give me like a minute or two clip of Chloe telling off Ash and saying, hey, you can't ignore your Pokemon like this. You can't ignore the people important to you instead of just saying, "Oh, Chloe, let me have it." Like that would have been nice to see. Show, don't tell. It's the most basic form of storytelling.
Yeah, I really think this episode actually should have been focused on Ash. So show a few scenes of Pikachu walk and Mr. Mime walking through the rain, getting picked up, but then spend the most Ash and Chloe yelling at Ash for that, and then Ash actually searching the entire city, and then thinking, wonder if he was spending time with my mom. I wonder if that's where he went, and then going. So show the thought process of
Exactly. And we also get one of Williamson's favorite tropes in Pokemon: characters singing. Yeah, Ash's mom sings a lullaby to Pikachu in the beginning, and at the end of the episode, Ash ends up singing the same lullaby to Pikachu again, which like
at least it's actually words and not do over and over again.
that Jirachi movie was so that Jirachi movie song, that was a magical level of what the hell. That was ingenious perfection. Like the one, getting into a little bit of a tangent, I feel like the one time I'm okay with them singing thing is the Bonnie Squishy song, which at first I remember in the dorm we were both laughing at because it was kind of silly, kind of cheesy. But then when she's singing it to Zygarde, when the whole world is falling apart and she just needs something to comfort her, it actually ended up being brilliant. Like I actually felt bad for this. Like, for how old is Bonnie? Like 6, 5?
5 or 6, somewhere around there. I think
Yeah,
she's
like
supposed to be the same age as Max.
yeah, like that was a really powerful moment. And this is like, I feel like they kind of tried to do the same thing symbolically, but it's singing in Pokemon. It's kind of silly. It's a little silly, no matter how you look at it.
Unless it's Jigglypuff, in which case it's gonna knock everybody out in like a 20-mile radius, in which case Jigglypuff is really overpowered if you think about it in the anime.
And nobody bothers catching it. But we can talk about that another time. Anyways, Pikachu Ash's fight thing could have been done better, but it was bound to happen eventually. Next episode.
The cuteness quotient.
Okay, I like this episode. I really like this episode.
Yep, this is the episode you were talking about that is a good Chloe episode.
Yes, a good Chloe episode. So basically, Chloe's brother calls her and says, "Hey, this person's having a problem in my class. Can you and come over and help me out?" And Ash is like, "Oh, I'll come too." I'm like, nobody invited you, but okay. I guess you have to be in every episode, don't you? Which that's like one of two problems I've had. It would have been nice to see how different Chloe and Go's dynamic was from when they were kids to when they were older kids. I don't think Ash was necessarily needed for this episode.
Yeah, it's
anyways, so, but that's just a minor nitpick for me.
Yeah, this episode. So, as you were saying though, it's Chloe's little brother calls her and to get Go to come help because one of his classmates is being bullied because she has a Feebas, and she thinks it's adorable, one of the cutest Pokemon, and everybody else, all the other 5-year-olds, think it's ugly and are making fun of her for it.
Yeah, which it's a nice lesson of where it's just like, I don't care what you look like. I think you're cute. I love you. I like this kid. And I appreciate how they try and go about it. They're just like, okay, well, there's this competition thing that we could be doing, and let's enter it in that so we can show off just how cool Feebas is. And Chloe is one of the driving forces. She's one of the ones who's like pushing her. It's like, oh wait, we have to teach her how to swim too. We have to teach Feebas how to show off its cuteness. They don't do the thing where it's like, oh, well, maybe you should try and find another Pokemon for it. No, they stick with it. I appreciate that form of storytelling. I appreciate that.
And it really goes to pretty much tell you that you're going to find someone whose favorite Pokemon is one you probably hate. I mean, I'm sure there's someone out here who actually likes using, in my opinion, one of the worst is like Garbodor, literally a bag of trash. But I'm sure there's someone out here who likes it.
Yeah, it's a nice episode, which they kind of muddle up the message towards the end. But one of the kind of tiny moments I do like is when they're in the audience and there's like, next up it's whatever her name is and Feebas, That's Ginny. Oh, Ginny. Ginny and Feebas. Yes, and there are two surfer or swimmer girls who are like, a Feebas? That's so lame and ugly. And the second Chloe hears that, she seemingly wants to kill them because you see the look on her face. And it's kind of terrifying because she's basically standing up for these kids. It's just with a death glare. It's kind of amazing.
I'm going to share my screen real quick because it's actually the image on the thing. So let me.
Go
Oh, you
for it.
disabled it. Never mind.
I did. Hold on. Let me fix that. Let me fix that. Anyways, but it's a really I don't know. I really love that moment. I like the fact that I just like that.
If we can't do it, it's fine. It's not that important. But I just found it funny that it was perfect image for it.
Yeah, but it's just a cool little thing. But I guess one of the other problems I have is how do I put this? One of the other problems I have is basically that Team Rocket kind of shows up for no adequate explained reasons. Because here's the thing about Team Rocket: they're funny, they're great characters, but they don't need to be in every episode. This could have easily been an episode without them, in my opinion.
Yeah, the only issue is that I mean, just looking through here, I'm trying to remember if they had been. I think it had already been 2 episodes in a row without them, unless they were in New Kid.
I don't think they were.
So yeah, the last episode they were in was Sobbing Sobble.
Yeah, I know. It's just I don't know. It just seems kind of weird that they just kind of get, because I noticed that with a lot of episodes of the early season, like they just kind of get thrown in and the plot just kind of, oh, there you go.
Yeah, so see, this is the image we were talking about. Where
They look so upset. They look so fucking upset.
I know it's perfect though. I mean, after all their hard work, they're really pissed off that these adults don't understand.
Not only that, but even Go at one point was kind of like, guys, I don't really know. This could be tougher. They're like, oh, you got a problem, Go? You got a problem? You want to dance? You want to dance, old timer? And he's just like, okay, just relax. I'm on your side. But I like
She'll
that.
win.
I like that protective side of Chloe. I thought that was a good moment for her. But they kind of muddle up the message because Feebas evolves into Milotic, the supposed most beautiful Pokemon in the world. But it would have been meant a lot more to me if Feebas had decided to stay the way it was. Because, I don't know, Feebas is the Pokemon that she was so attached to and defending. When it changes, it kind of muddles up the message, in my opinion.
I would almost so throughout the episode, it has like one like rainbow scale,
Right.
and it gets attacked and loses that scale. I think it's by Team Rocket.
Yeah, it's by Team Rocket. That's right.
And this is when it evolves. I would have liked it like the somehow all the other skills fall out and it's a unique variant with this, and
Yeah,
it could have been another way of doing it, but again, yeah, evolving isn't always the answer, especially because now she has a very powerful Pokemon and she's 5.
Yeah. But regardless, great. Despite our nitpicks, this was a really strong episode. Even as a filler episode, it was still very strong. But next episode, time after time, we learned a little bit about Go and his backstory, sort of.
Yeah. I mean, it showed a bit more of Go with about the time that we saw him in the first episode.
Right. So, like, let's say 5 years ago or so, or however long.
Yeah, and it's. I mean, I like this episode, because it's you get to see someone's a bit more of their backstory. It doesn't really add too much to Go's character, though.
Not particularly, no. If anything, this is going to be somewhat of a controversial opinion, but I kind of would have preferred if, like, we always seem to be talking about Ash not being the main character anymore, Ash kind of being relegated, Ash not being in the series as much. It would have been kind of nice if Go had been the main character, and halfway through, like, the first season or something, he reunites with I'm damn it, I'm blanking out on his name. He reunites with his friend, and they kind of become the two main characters. Horace, that's his name.
Yeah, because they both have similar goals.
One wants to
So
catch Celebi, and the other wants to catch Mew.
so the part of this episode I don't like is the misunderstanding trope that they
Oh,
use.
Jesus Christ! I feel like we've talked about this trope before, but and not in a positive light. But continue. Go ahead.
Well, yeah, I think this was one of our when we did the tropes in anime, most hated tropes in anime for us.
Mm-hmm.
So
Regardless.
so pretty much I'll just go over the entire plot. Go and his family. It starts out with Go and his family are now on vacation. They're going to Azalea Town in the Johto region, and they arrive, and Go's parents pass out because they're workaholics.
I was about to say, yeah, that's becoming a serious problem for them. But continue.
So it actually flashes back because they did this same trip about 5 years ago, and the same thing happened. They arrive, Go's parents pass out, and Go goes exploring and meets this kid Horace. Is that what you said his name was?
Yeah, Horace.
And they start hanging out, and they are both looking again for mythical Pokemon. In this case, now they're looking for Celebi because it's supposed to be in these woods. So they're going for the shrine in the Azalea Forest.
That's right.
Well, they spend the first day exploring, and then they promise to meet up the next day.
And they meet the Sunflora too, correct?
Well, yeah, they borrow the place where Go's staying. It's like the gamekeeper or the groundskeeper.
Right.
He has a Sunflora, so they borrow that to get through the woods. Well, they Go shows up the next day, and Horace is nowhere to be found. Well, then they revealed that he was sick. He had gotten sick that day and couldn't come out.
Yeah, but Go doesn't know that when he's 5. He's all like, "Oh, he made a promise," and all this other sort of stuff. And I'm like, cell phones would really have been helpful. Well, because he could have just like we've done it before, or like I'll just text you and be like, "Hey, man, I'm not feeling so hot, so no video this week." Like it seems like it'd just be that easy. Like, dude, I got sick. I ate some nasty orange berries. I'm sorry, dude. Ooh, I'll see you next time.
Yeah, and literally the whole part of the Johto region. Again, these kids are 5, so they don't need cell phones really. But
I know,
they
but
snuck.
you
But they snuck.
understand what I mean.
Well, actually, no. Go needs one because they're pretty much in a new country on vacation, and he's out on his own.
Yeah, they needed something to keep an eye on him. But anyways, it flashes back and Go's just kind of like, "Oh, well, I don't think I'll ever see him again or anything like that." But he finally gets to the shrine, opens the letter, and Horace is like, "Yo, dude, sorry, I was sick. Hopefully we can see each other again someday." And at the end of the episode, they see each other again. Horace is all grown up. People don't age that much in Pokemon, so I pretty much have to say all grown up. And
They
as
age to 10 and then stop aging.
yeah, pretty much. And they get to the end of they meet up at the end of the episode, and we don't see anything of it, which I kind of like because it kind of keeps an aura of mystery, but it really only works if we see Horace again someday, in my opinion. I think he could come. I think I would like if he would come back every now and then.
Yeah, I think they could do something with his character. He could be the Richie for Go.
Yeah, like just be like, who's gonna catch more Pokemon first? It's gonna be me. No, it's gonna be you. I'm like, honestly, got both of you are kind of lame. I've done it before, and it's pretty easy. But regardless, I like this episode. It didn't really add a whole lot to Go's character, but not every episode has to do that.
Yeah, I would if they had done something more along the lines of after that saying, "Fine, I'm not going to do. I won't uh, go away from my goal of catching Mew first." Like somehow it solidifies him that that's going to be his first Pokemon. So if they had done that, I think that could have worked to build Go's character and explain where he was.
Yeah. Anyway, and next episode,
Trade, borrow, and steal.
yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say about this episode except the Cricketune girl. I did not hate. I expected myself not to like her, but I'm like, no, she's all right. Like she's better than I expected.
That is for sure. I was expecting her to be the annoying obsessive about something side character for an episode.
No, yeah, but she's actually he actually can be pretty grounded at times, and I do like how at first they immediately thought she was a Cricketune. It would have been funny if they had thrown a Pokeball at first. I'm like, guys, you're inside. Why are you throwing Pokeballs at stuff? But I don't know. I liked her. I thought her and Go had pretty good chemistry in the episode. Like they played well off each other.
Yeah, because it's two different styles of catching. She's kind of the strategic. I'm going to place these lures out, and then
Which I really liked. I really liked that with the honey and everything. I liked that.
it brings a dimension that there's all different ways of living in this Pokemon world.
And catching Pokemon. Many of these varying ways of catching Pokemon I'd love to see in a video game, but we get what we get. But regardless, she has what she come again?
Better version of honey trees rather than
Yes.
have to wait 6 hours in real life, and then if you wait 8 hours, you've missed it. Whatever the time frame is.
Yeah. Anyways, so she has a Heracross and Go has a Pinsir. That's right, right?
Yes.
Okay, and she wants to trade because she's trying to catch like every single bug Pokemon. But at first, is it that Go doesn't really want to trade?
Yeah, because he likes his Pinsir and doesn't want to get rid of it.
Despite the fact that he catches Pokemon on a near daily basis, what makes his Pinsir so special? But regardless, so they make it up to her. They say, "Hey, how about this? Let's do this. Let's help you catch a Pinsir." And of course, Team Rocket get involved. They eat all the lures and they get really mad at Team Rocket, despite the fact that they really haven't done anything all that wrong or bad or evil.
We forgot to mention that Team Rocket's being pursued by a Mori Poke.
A Morpeko?
That's it.
Yes. Yeah. Here's the thing. I like that side gag that Morpeko kind of just keeps eating their food and gets like super pissed when it hasn't had enough. I do like that. But it does make me wonder, is this just a wild Morpeko that's following them around? Or does that Morpeko belong to someone in particular?
Who knows? And I mean, the question's going to be: is it going to battle on their side when the next time Ash and Team Rocket face off, or what's going to happen?
Yeah, and I also really like how this girl, well, she immediately like it's like, oh, well, maybe the bug type Pokemon ate all of your lore, and she's like, no, bug Pokemon never clean the plate completely. I'm like, holy crap, I never thought about that. I'm telling you, this character of the day actually ends up being kind of clever. I like her. I like her a lot.
Yeah. So I like the end of this episode though. So in the end, Go catches another Pinsir. It's the only one they see in the entire episode. And Go, and it's revealed that she has 6 currently on her Heracross.
Yeah, 6 Heracross. I'm just like, what? I'm like, that's so. Of course, that's how this episode ends.
It's a good bug Pokemon, but why did you catch 6, and why do you have only Heracross?
Yeah, but anyways, because Go's Pinsir kind of develops an affection for her main Heracross, so Go gives her the new Pinsir he called, and she trades him the Heracross that she'd been using for the whole episode.
Yep.
And Cricketina Kylie was probably never seen again. But I do find it odd that Go was like, I don't know if I can trade a Pokemon at a trade event. I'm like, dude, what did you think you'd be doing? What did you honestly think you'd be doing here?
Why didn't he bring his Dusk Talks? Because he has 2 of them that he could trade.
Yeah. Oh Jesus! I just thought. I don't know. He's not that bright. I'm starting to notice.
Yeah, but overall, it's a good episode, a fun new character that they uh, will probably only use once. The only other time I can think they might use her is at the end of Pokemon Journeys if Ash is facing off against Leon. She might be in the stands.
Yeah. Anyways, next episode, Ash gets stomped.
Yes.
Moving on. Anyway, no,
Solitary and menacing.
yeah, and B, is that how they pronounce her name? Bia. Let's just say
B.
B because it's the gallery. Everyone
Another
says,
fighting gym
"Yep, another fighting gym leader," and people are going to be like, "How do you not know what it was? Do you not know? Do you not know British names?" It's like, well, Galar is technically based in Northern Ireland, not anything but whatever. Regardless, Ash gets stomped like really badly by this girl.
So this episode starts because Go found out that there's a fighting dojo, fighting gym that they didn't really say what it's called in the anime.
No,
Where if you go and beat the um, dojo master, you get either the Hitmonlee or the Hitmon Chan.
yeah. And the whole episode, he's kind of having trouble to decide, oh, which one should I catch? Which one should I catch? I'm just like, dude, like these Pokemon are everywhere. Like you don't really like if you spend like 5 minutes outside, I'm sure you'll find one eventually. But whatever.
But so uh, Ash hears that there's a member of the World Coronation Series battling the Dojo Master and is really excited because he wants to face this person because they're supposed to be really tough and around the same rank as him.
Yeah, that's right. And he gets there, and B has already won, and and afterwards he's like, "Oh yeah, let's battle." Oh, and she's kind of like, "Are you sure you want to do? Fine, fine, whatever, let's do it." So she, like we've said before, he kind of gets destroyed. He kind of gets destroyed, and once again, he uses Riolu to do it. Kind of wondering why is it always Riolu? Which could have tied back to the Pikachu getting jealous episode, but they didn't really do anything about that regardless.
Yeah, and it's so as you were saying though, it does not go well. Riolu does pretty well, but Ash keeps making decisions that confuse Riolu, and then it ends with Riolu getting submission to death. I think pretty much.
Yeah, oh, some of those attacks were mean. Like it would hold it super close. It's like, all right, now shoot it in the face. I'm like, wait, what? You're allowed to do that? Like
This is one of,
some of those attacks were fucking mean.
but yeah. So in the end, it's a Ash loses both Pokemon and doesn't take out a single one of these Pokemon.
Yeah, and of course at the end of the episode he's like, hey, like he falls in rank. Hank, doesn't he?
Not yet. He's still in the great class, but he loses. He's towards the bottom of it.
Yeah, he drops a couple of places. He drops from where is it? I literally just saw 890 to 930. Okay, all right. Okay, so he drops in numbers, but he's not out of it yet. But he basically says to his Pokemon, "Hey, I'm sorry. We'll get her next time. Let's
go trade."
yeah." Next episode. Oh Jesus.
Gotta catch a what?
I don't have a whole lot to say about it. I didn't really like this episode. There was not a whole lot about like they there was one part that was kind of clever, but overall this wasn't the episode for me.
I don't know. This one kind of felt like classic Pokemon because, to me, a bit more. We haven't seen in a long time where they find, in this case, it's a herd of Pikachu. What would you call a group of Pikachu?
An infestation.
Okay.
Well, they're mice, and it kind of works.
So they go and investigate and so that Go can catch a Pikachu because he decides, oh, Ash has got a Pikachu, I should catch one. And so they hear that this is the great place to find them, and it's actually an interesting reason. I actually kind of like this part was the Pikachu go to this cliffside and dig up thunderstones to evolve into Raichu.
Yeah, I did like that part. Also, Go kind of catches a Pikachu very early into the episode, which I like because he's not just like, oh, well, let's wait the whole episode and then he catches one. He's just like, nope, we're here. Let's just grab it.
So then we get to the part that everybody thought, oh my god, what did they do? Where so he catches a female Pikachu who finds a Thunderstone and starts chasing Ash's Pikachu with the Thunderstone.
Like, hey, you want this? And Pikachu's like, no, get away from me. Get away.
So they literally disappear behind a rock and they do the bright light evolution animation from behind it, and a male Raichu hops up on the rock. And everybody's like, oh my god, Ash, they evolved Ash's Pikachu.
And I don't know why people believe that would actually be a thing. That was more of, if anything, that was pretty much a good troll move in my opinion. At the same time, though, they wouldn't do that in just this one-off random episode, because this episode, it was pretty much a filler episode. If they're evolving Pikachu, they're making a very big deal out of it, and even then, I don't think they're evolving it regardless.
Yeah, again, I've actually included this episode in how I would rearrange the season and explain how I would do it.
Yeah.
But so yeah, then Team Rocket starts capturing the Pikachu thing and get Ash's Pikachu as well. And so Ash go and his Pikachu, I don't think it's evolved yet. Go after it.
I don't remember, honestly.
But I think then the episode pretty much ends with kind of the classic confrontation where they've got the big Team Rocket's got the big machine filled with Pokemon, and they can't escape. It's electric proof, and then I think goes to evolves into Raichu as it's getting sucked up, so it destroys the machine.
Yeah, right. That's what it was. It destroys the machine. Everybody gets out. They all electrocute Team Rocket, which, considering all of those Pikachu, didn't seem like it was that big of an attack. But regardless, Go has Raichu now. The day is saved. Kind of a fart of an episode, in my opinion.
Yeah. So now we have the final episode of part 3.
Thank God. And the final episode is called
Making Battles in the Sand.
Okay, so the episode basically starts. Ash is battling a bunch of different people, and he loses like tremendously.
Yeah, all the battles are against tentacle using Pokemon. There, he faces similar to Grapplock, which he loses to in the Solidarity and Menacing.
Yeah,
it's
once again,
Tentacool and Artillery.
And he uses Riolu, and he doesn't like Riolu getting in close and attacking, which, considering it's a fighting Pokemon, it kind of seems like close combat, no pun intended, would probably be something you should use. But he's not in a good state of mind. He gets out of the great rank or whatever rank he's in. I know he falls out of it.
He's now at the top of standard Pokeball rank, whatever it's called.
Yeah. Anyways.
Normal class, that's it.
Anyways, regardless, and he starts to get kind of depressed. Yes, and if a lot of you will remember back towards the end of, I want to say it was like right before X, Y, and actually no, it was probably during X, Y, and Z. Ash has a gym battle against the Ice Gym leader, and he loses. And the next episode, he's kind of in a funk about it. So it's very similar to that, but in my opinion, I think Journeys did it better, because at first Go was like, "Come on, Ash, you got to snap out of it. But you gotta snap out of it. You gotta be better than this. You gotta." You know what I mean? It's the typical, come on, snap out of it, kind of aggressive, which is not really the best thing you want to do for somebody who's depressed. But admittedly, it's done better than it was with Serena, because Go, over the course of the episode, shows, hey, this is what you've taught me. It works. You just have to adjust for stuff now and then. Whereas Serena kind of just flipped out on Ash, and then he kind of learned on his own, hey, I gotta buck up. I don't know. I think Go did it better than Serena.
Sorry, my dog.
Your dog agrees with me.
Let me go quiet real quick. I'll be right back.
All right. But anyways, so there's also this desert, there's also this spirit sort of thing that seems to be taking over a nearby town. People seemingly get lost and they pretty much Ash and Go have to try and settle it for themselves because Lord knows nobody else is going to. Anyways, so they get into the spirit, they get to the spirit and they see all this sandstorm stuff happening and they see a trapinch of a Brava and the main thing causing it, which is a Flygon. And I really, really appreciated this because one of the things about Flygon, and its Pokedex entry is it's kind of known as the desert spirit, and it flaps its wings and it kind of causes this. I don't know. It was a nice way to incorporate a Pokemon's Pokedex entry that wasn't necessarily battle based. And I always appreciate side stories like that.
Yeah. So from what I heard about it, yeah, it was a good way to have pretty much introduce all of the Flygon line in the entire episode.
Yeah. But it also kind of makes it all the more dark when you realize that the reason Flygon like trap people like that and cause desert spirit is to strand its prey and attack, which makes me think that it was probably going to kill all of those people, which yeah, I'm starting to realize one of my favorite dragon type Pokemon is a little messed up in the head.
That's not what they say in the episode. In the episode, they say that that it got out of the desert and didn't know what to do, so it caused the sandstorm.
Yeah, I know. Oh, but you know how messed up Pokedex entries can get. Like the one about Ariados is terrifying when you start to think about it.
Or the one about Drifloon.
Oh Jesus Christ! I'm glad I'm now knowing about how terrifying they were because if I had learned as a kid, I would have been traumatized for life. But regardless,
So this is just a shout out to another channel. If you haven't heard about how messed up some Pokemon Dex entries are, go watch Dorkly's Pokedex. If the like literal Pokedex entries or something along those lines, because they read the Pokedex entry and then do a little animation about it, and it is hilarious.
Oh Jesus Christ, that's right. But anyways, Go goes about like when he's catching the Flygon, because Lord knows we can't have an episode where Go doesn't catch a Pokemon. Regardless, though, he catches the Pokemon and he kind of shows Ash like, hey, if your strategies of thinking outside the box, they do work to an extent. You just have to realize that sometimes it's not always going to work. That doesn't mean giving up. You can do this, which, like I said, it's a far better way of supporting your friend than Serena, who gave up who got frustrated and just started throwing snowballs at him. It's just like, you don't get it. I'm like, Serena, you don't know how this works, do you?
Yeah, so
she's going to be a terrible therapist, I swear.
It's a good thing that's not what she's going for right now, as far as we know.
Not yet. Anyways, continue.
All right, so kind of just to wrap this up, as I watched the season, I kind of got a feeling that they could have really changed the order, how episodes played off of each other to make like half of the season. Because there's about 6 episodes I would rearrange.
Right.
And then probably edit a little bit. But
yeah, like the Karina episode starting it off was perfect for me because you want to start off your season with something that'll get people hooked. The Slowpoke episode was fine where it was, I suppose, but you could have had more of the filler episodes towards the beginning, and the end could have been him getting the Raihan battle, Ash getting stomped, and just playing off that sort of thing. Yeah, if anything, I kind of feel like Ash's confidence kind of got restored a little quick, but who knows? I haven't seen it. I haven't read any spoilers, so maybe it takes a little longer than that at first, because I remember Dawn and May's crisis of confidence. Their storylines lasted for several episodes.
Mm-hmm. Okay, pretty much the way I would reorder it is, again, the episode where he gets stomped by B would be like episode 5 or 6. Maybe then a filler episode or something, and then I would have Ash, the making battles in the sand. So I would have him still get his confidence back a little bit, but would again follow close behind. Then I would have uh, pretty much the there's a new kid in town, battle bothered and belligerent. Would be moved towards the end. So again, there'd be filler episodes mixed in that are tied in. But I would end it pretty much with betrayed, bothered, belligered. Ash's Pikachu runs away, but I wouldn't have it end the same way. I would have it so he gets there and then sees Ash and Riolu's out of the Pokeball. I'd have it run into the woods, which would then lead into the Gotta Catch a What episode.
Yeah.
And so in this case, it doesn't. It ends the season with Pikachu running behind the rock, the light, Raichu hopping up, to be continued.
Oh gee, you would. Oh jeez, so many. There would be riots in the street, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it. We as Pokemon fans kind of deserve to get trolled with the way we act sometimes.
I just think that would have worked a lot better, and then it would have been. You could have made it so that Riolu's the reason Ash is using Riolu so much in these episodes is because he's trying to train it so that he can reface B, and have
Okay.
at the end of the season he's earned his way back into the great class.
Okay. So I want to ask you something, and kind of because we're slow. We've wrapped up the episodes. I want to ask you, who who had it best and who had it worse. Basically, the character you feel like had it the worst this part, and the character you feel like had the best part three. So to make things since I kind of threw you under the spot, I think I'll go first. I'm gonna say the person with the worst was Ash. Like he got he got beaten by somebody because it seems like whenever Pokemon wants to someone have a fall from grace, they always want them to be overconfident at first, and Ash was pretty overconfident. And at the end of the part three, he didn't necessarily get his mojo back, but I don't know. Ash had a pretty bad part three for me.
I would have to agree. Just looking through, he starts to become really overconfident in like the first 4 episodes, and then of course you have him. If they had made it a bit more effective on his character about Pikachu being annoyed or feeling betrayed that he isn't being used at all, then I think that would have really helped. And then of course, I think he probably would have been a top character had they done the season in the order I recommended.
Yeah, but I'd say probably the person who had it best was just Go in general, because besides catching the Pokemon and one of his Pokemon evolving the day he caught it, he got a starter. He helped build up Ash's confidence. I don't know. Go had a really good part three for me. You and I are always kind of on the fence about how we feel about Go, but I felt like this is the most I've liked him, with the exception of the whole misunderstanding part. But once again, he was 5. That I don't hold that against him too badly.
Yeah, I tend to agree that he had a pretty good part. Part of me still thinks that because he's only just started becoming a trainer, it was a little early for him to be the one telling Ash what to do in that final episode.
Yeah, a little bit.
I would have, I don't know how I would have wanted to do it. Maybe having, uh, I almost wish that they had had B in a few more episodes, not like her getting angry at Ash for falling apart pretty much.
Yeah.
She said, "You had some interesting strategies. I was just prepared for them." But then seeing his battles and knowing, oh my God,
Yeah. Or hell, Leon or Raihan would probably would have been a better spot for him, but he was the one who did it. I can't completely take that away from him.
So I guess if I had to pick someone, I might go with Chloe. I just think there were a few episodes that she did pretty well uh, in here, and for at this point, just a side character. or a recurring character, she had some good development.
Yeah, I'd agree. So, is there anything you want in the next part just to wrap things up?
So I actually haven't been spoiled, I don't think, for anything else in
Okay.
this after
Oh,
this part. So
perfect.
so I really don't know what I want. I mean, again, I'm hoping Ash is better in the next part with him developing back to where he was, and
Not
then
me. Not me. No, I want this whole series just to be him going on a downward slope. Like he loses one battle after another. Like he loses to Team Rocket once. Then
okay, I
May,
do know part of
then May comes back. May beats him. Then I show up and I beat him without even trying. Then you show up and you beat him. I want Ash to just lose this entire season. He never gets back. He just quits. He's just like, no, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And then he
So
gets an arc where he gets better. And then he fails again. And
so
then he
you
fails again. Sorry, go ahead.
so you mean by beat, you mean actually with a crowbar, correct?
No, I don't. No. Gee, I was no, I no. Wow. Okay. I don't know how to respond to that. That's terrible.
And yet you laughed.
I laughed because I was surprised. I have never once said a bad thing about Ash. I've always been good to. Anyways, no, don't give me that.
You're gonna lie to our subscribers?
Lie. It's not a lie. It's just the truth that's being told in a completely unrealistic light. Regardless, regardless though, Ash getting back to normal, that has to happen eventually. I guess the main thing I want is don't have Team Rocket in an episode if they're not going to. Don't put them in an episode just to put them in an episode. If they're going to be the main part of an episode, let them be the main part. All right, if they're going to be the antagonist for the whole episode, that's fine. But don't throw them in at like the last minute. That really doesn't sit well with me, especially since one of the things Sun and Moon actually did really well is they let Team Rocket, they let them breathe. Like there were episodes without them that made us miss them more. That's one of the things I liked about it.
And they've done that. I mean, the really good episode was a Little Rocket R&R from the end of season 2 or
Yeah,
part 2, where
yeah, that
it's
was a
literally
fantastic
focused.
episode.
So yeah, it's kind of nice not having them in every episode, because when you do see them, it makes you happy to see
Yeah.
them.
Well, they are the heroes of the story, but regardless. Is anything else we need to talk about? We haven't been spoiled on a whole lot, so we don't have any much to talk about in that department.
I just remember one thing I know is, I think, going to be in part 4, but I'm not going to spoil it if you don't know about it. So
That's all right. 8. So, ladies, gentlemen, and others, what did you think of Pokemon Journeys Part 3 and the main episodes? Did you think Ash and Pikachu's fight was handled well? Do you think Ash's Crisis of Confidence story is done right? What the hell was that Slow King episode? Just let us know. Let us know.
yeah, do you have a new favorite side character? Are you interested to see where it's going to go from here?
Yeah, and you don't have to spoil it in the comments or anything, but what do you think of Go and Chloe? Do you think they're misunderstood? Do you think they're overrated? Just anything. Talk to us, talk to us, talk to us.
Yep.
Yeah, and join us for our next video.
We'll film something soon.
So, eventually, we're slowly getting our schedules back together because the holidays are over. But anyways, this has been Foster
And Williamson.
and this has been our review of Pokemon Journeys Part 3. And with the Anime Egotist, if you disagree, you're wrong. We're blasting off again. Ding.